friends, hello and welcome to the next episode of Vicky Streams. We're back in Timberborn now and creating a new beaver settlement called Danger. Why is it called Danger? Mostly because it's on hardcore mode. Yeah, so that's fun. So it's on hard mode, which means we start off with the minimal resources possible. And I've also chosen the most toxic map possible, called Diorama, as you can see. And in the first few bits of this video, in fact, I actually spend a lot of time trying to figure out where the water sources are. Because yeah, it appears to be a number of very big circles and very little else. I do come to realise later on, by the way, that the water sources are actually right at the bottom of those big circles, and you can kind of see it as we're scrolling over. But yes, so there's our little beavers. We've only got a couple at the moment, but first things first, we probably need to figure out cutting down some trees, getting some logs going, and take it from there. So we establish a lumberjack flag over here and tell them to cut some trees down. Get the lazy beavers working. Realised at this point, by the way, that you can't highlight all of the trees. You've got to do it on each level. So yeah, still getting used to the controls after the tutorial was released and after I spent that time with Matty trying to figure it out. But we do eventually speed this up as well. But yeah, this is it's a good start. It's an unusual map. I don't know how long this will go on for because well, it's hard. And as I learnt recently, having played it offline a bit, you can fail at this game. They can all die. It's a thing. Yeah. It was. I didn't even make it to the bot stage, and they all died. Uh, Maybe that doesn't happen here. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. But so you can see me now placing a gather flag. This is day 1, cycle 1, for our little beavers. So we need to get some food. The first early stage is the blueberries. There they all go, getting to their various jobs. So we're going to have a little bit more of a look at the map while we're trying to figure that out. I do wonder where my mouse just went if we put a water wheel in there, but it's a bit far at the moment, and I've only got a little bit of food, so that really ought to be the focus to start with. Yes, we also decide very quickly, probably, to get some warehouses established because they're going to need to pop it away very, very quickly. So we're just trying to figure out where to put that. So from the tutorial, I actually learnt that it's kind of better to place the warehouses and stuff, although you see me in this one, I put it in the grass in the end. It's kind of better to place the warehouses in the arid areas. The major reason being is because at the moment I don't have much land to work on here, much fertile land. The green stuff really ought to be saved and used for things like crops and various, and not storage, not warehouses. We also established a water pump because beavers do need water to survive as well, and at the moment we have 0. Yep, you heard me, 0. We have no water, which means they're going to start dying of thirst pretty imminently. So that one's quite important to get going. So we get that going, and we head into the night time, and our poor little homeless beavers get to sleep outside. Poor little beans. I did also remember at that point to increase the community centre, the district centre, increase the amount of beans because it'll build things quicker. So yeah, hopefully. We're still trying to find the water source here. I can't believe it took me that long to find it, but I didn't quite realise that you can see through the water if you click on a building. It's also a good idea to have a look around at first and see kind of what is out there, what is what. So yeah, because we couldn't find the water source like we did have in the original map where you follow a river. There didn't appear to be a river in particular, just these big sort of circles of opportunities, I guess. So it does take us a while. I do settle down with the moving at some point. So yes, there we go. and we can see we've got some mines underneath the water and some of the ruins underneath the water, so that's kind of cool. Which makes me wonder at this point whether or not I should make a dam, perhaps, where we thought we might put the wheel, because then you can drain one area and use that as a living area, and keep the other ones that have the water source as actual pools. But I don't know. I'm not sure at this point. So possibly at the moment just trying to get things up and running. So we've got a couple of vacancies, so not all the beavers are working, but we also don't have that many places they can work right now. We get down another lumberjack flag, so we can get wood a lot quicker, so we can build things a lot quicker, and pause the building on one of the warehouses because we don't actually need that built first. We need water, so we're going to prioritise the tank at this point, the pump, because you can see from the flags here, are now starting to die of thirst. We've got some thirsty beavers, people. Thirsty beavers. Whoopsie daisy. We also want to get them some houses pretty soon. I don't know why I built a campfire. I thought maybe it would make them happier, but I mean if they're gonna die of thirst, that probably doesn't matter. I'm not sure why my brain went to habitation before everything else, but yeah. End of day 2. We made some pretty silly decisions. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. Nobody dead yet though, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, the poor little things, you can see they're absolutely drying out, desiccating beavers. Maybe that's the name of this episode, Desiccated Beavers. You can see they're all rather unhappy as well, so thirsty and homeless. Definitely not meeting the requirements for a happy beaver colony. Whoops. But you know, learners. I mean, I'm still new to this game. We'll figure it out. So there goes the pump, and you can see our beavers that are wood cutting are getting on with it. Because the need for speed is ever present. I get down another lumber mill flag, lumberjack flag, thinking maybe it would speed up things. Um, it probably would help. Probably would help. Looking at this now, I probably should have started with a farm, to make getting food easier, but yeah, you live and learn. I do wonder as well about going up there and putting a water wheel up there, but this would be running before you could walk, and probably you should learn to crawl first before you walk. But yeah, you learn these things. You learn these things. So we now have 1 water, 2 water. I mean, we're getting there, right? It's not. They're not going to die immediately on episode 1. They probably. Well, we'll see. We'll see. And only 46 berries at this point as well. They've been through the carrots that we did start with, so yeah, not the best start. Not the best start. But you quickly learn what you need to prioritise based on what's going on. And in this instance, it's definitely the pump. So, whoops. We're getting there slowly. Yeah. I know, it's cringe right now. I'm sorry, beavers. I'm sorry. Please don't die. So towards the end of day 3, my beavers still aren't all that happy. Although they do have the campfire, so I guess they can be social and starving. Social and starving. Yeah. Sorry, beavers. We realise as well we didn't put down a grindstone, so if they break their teeth, they can fix their teeth, so they can keep chopping down logs. Because work, you, zug, get on with it. As we head into night 2, while they sleep on the lawn, and yeah, pray that nothing vicious comes along and gets us. So the idea of Timberborn is you are a pack of beavers that have survived the end of the world, and they are taking over what humans used to do. So you've got to use all of the ruins and other stuff in order to create a happy and thriving colony. In this instance, not happy. They're not happy yet. But as you can see, we've just about now got enough water to stop them all kind of from dying of thirst. And in fact, we've had 2 toddlers grow up into day 4, so we've actually increased our population, which is going to also increase the struggle of resources. But more hands, more work. Perhaps maybe it'll get them all moving. So now is the realization we probably need a farmhouse. So we get a farmhouse in for the ever precious carrots. I do actually make these a priority, and the houses less of a priority because food is going to be a problem very soon, especially as we get through the berries. So we adjust some of those. Um, it can be quite handy to use the priority markers. The trouble I found so far with this game, which is I suppose a little bit of a criticism, is you can't reset the priority flags with one button somewhere else. You need to go through and remember what you've prioritized. So later on, you'll see me trying to sort out a bunch of those. But it does work. It does work. If you need to focus on something in particular, it does help. So yes, we now have 1 house, which means we only have 8 beavers sleeping outside on the lawn. Whoopsie daisy. And a pump, and a farmhouse, which is currently not building at all. Helpful. But that's because we have no logs, we have no anything in storage, and only 50 food. Which means we're probably, yeah, it's a bit of a slow start here. Just pray for me, people, pray for me that we don't get a drought immediately. Pray. Although I don't know how the drought will affect us on this map at this point, because if the pools are so big like that, as the water dries out, how far down is the water going to go? And I know that drought is going to be a bigger risk in the hardcore, but how much of a bigger risk, I'm still not sure. So we get another lumberjack flag out, because work, zug zug. Get on with it, chaps. And we've got the warning for our first drought, which, speak of it and it shall arrive, in 3 days is our first drought. So you can see in the top right hand corner, the little bar with the clouds on is kind of your drought marker. You'll also note now, happily, I have found the water sources and realised that they are at the bottom of these ponds. Not all of them, but some of them. So I've got to the point now where I'm right, formulating a plan. Or something of a plan. Maybe. Maybe. Again, we don't know how long this is going to last or how long these beavers survive, but so far, kind of surviving. So yeah, as you can see, there are a couple of pools have the water sources, not all of them. It seems to be if it has a ruin in it, it doesn't have a water source. I do kind of wonder if you can build those water sources at some point, but so far I haven't seen it in the technology tree yet. So who knows? We'll see. So you can see now the farmhouse has been completed. Nothing to do in range because I didn't tell them to plant anything, so we get on with it here and tell them to plant some carrots, which hopefully should get them somewhat into the more safe region. We've got 28 water and 59 berries, so for now we're not at death's door yet, but that could change. Everything could change with the drought. So we'll see. We'll see. I've also realised that yes, I've definitely built things in the wrong place here because all of those houses now are going to be built on fertile land. So it is a balancing act. It is a balancing act. So how much land can you use and how much do you want for your beavers to be able to farm on or live on? So it's actually a very clever balancing act, I think. So we're starting to take off here. We've got 34 food after day 5, 34 and 5 logs, 18 water. I guess that's not too bad. We've still got homeless beavers though, so we probably need to fix that. I do start prioritising some of the buildings, so at least they're not going to be too grumpy. I don't know if they'll go on strike. Will beavers strike? Can we have a little beaver picket line? Maybe. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If I was one of these beavers, I would definitely be striking at this point because I've not got food, I've not got water, I've not got lodgings. I'm sleeping out in the wild. Come now. So here we are trying to get some more of the logs in. We've realised potentially that all of the trees that are within distance are now chopped down. It's definitely not a nice map to start on. So I'm actually going to send them up into the hills to get some of those down, and then potentially try and build up there so we can save some of this land. This land we shall call here this land of Dangerzone Beavers. Dun dun dun. But yeah, so it's going. It's going. We've also got a science beaver because that's the little whirligig thing there that you see. Because if we can get that going, we can get a forester and start replanting the trees. So I really recommend you get one of those buildings out earlier. Perhaps if I was to start again, I'd probably go lumberjack flag and then gatherer flag, then science building pretty much immediately, because having the ability to plant trees quite early on is going to make your life easier. Way easier. So, yeah, we'll see, we'll see. I do also note that these dead trees do leave a bit of something behind, so I've asked them to destroy what was left behind so I can build there. I didn't realise that you can actually build over these little stumpy things and it won't stop you. You don't actually need to clear them at this point. Just something to bear in mind so you don't take up a worker's time when you don't need to. Certainly something that I didn't realise until I played this a couple of times. You can see as well that the farmers now have got carrots in the field. It takes, I think, 3 days for the carrots to grow, which means we're going to be well into the drought season before they grow. Oh boy. Uh-oh. I did wonder, maybe instead of building a wheel, we can make a little bridge or something over this river, so we can maybe go and get more fertile land. But each district that you build has a like a maximum distance you can go with any particular beaver, and the further they've got to go, the more annoyed they're going to be. So here you can see we've got them a little bit happier. Not all of them have shelter, but at least the hunger, the thirst, and the entertainment are in the green zone. So last day now, day 6, last day before the drought. Dun dun dun. I really like this mechanic. I do. I think this is such a clever mechanic. Because it kind of hangs over you as a warning of, you know, ooh, this is coming. Are you prepared? And it does add a level of threat, a level of stress that I will admit I like from my games. This idea of imminent doom. So yeah, it's very very good. It's a very good game. I do recommend it to everybody out there. As something to have fun with. So I've realised now I've got 2 vacancies and 2 homeless, and 11 adults, which isn't too shabby. So potentially want to get some more of them working, but at the moment having them build anything new is kind of redundant. I don't really know what else I can get them working on at the moment, so I'm just waiting for my resources to build up a little bit. I get rid of some of the lumberjack flags because really on the left there they've not got any more trees really that they can chop down that are in distance of them. So I might as well use my beavers somewhere else or building something else. And especially we've got a couple of logs but not really that much. So yeah, we get them working on something else. You can see here I'm a little bit concerned about the drought, which is in now half a day. And I'm checking all of the production things to see can I get that tank finished before the day is out. Because having a drought and having no water is possibly the worst thing. We'll see, we'll see. We build another storage pile because we have no space for anything. The warehouses can store food and things that you've made. These large log pile things store materials that you would use to buy or build buildings. So you're going to need a couple of those. Later on you can get a much bigger one that's like an underground one, but you'll probably start off using these large piles, and possibly the small piles actually are really good for if you've got one small block that you can't put anything else in. So, but they don't hold much. They only hold like 30 items each. Isn't great. We managed to make another baby. We've now got houses for everybody, and reached level 4, which means basically that most of the beavers are in fact happy, which is great. But we've also now got our first drought. So you can see you get a warning on the screen, which means that those water sources down there that I found earlier, which took a moment, are now going to stop. And the water that is currently in there is just going to drop. Very, very slowly. Hopefully, slowly. I'm kind of praying slowly, but we'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as we go and progress through day 8 through to day 12, 13 to see how are we doing, how much does it devastate the area. I'm kind of hoping that not everything turns immediately brown and unusable, because that would make the carrots that we planted utterly useless. Utterly useless. So you can see here me checking to make sure we forgot to set the storage for logs. It's so nice that the game reminds you about that, but you can see me checking here to see how far has the water gone down, and are our crops protected. We've still got water coming in, but it's not going to last. It's not going to last. So you can see over there the water's still going out. It's at this point up here, when we get to this river, that you'll notice it has stopped. It has stopped on this, on the right top part, which is a little bit concerning. And you can see the brown muck now coming in as well, where the water is no longer supporting life. Now, the things that are supported by the water are aren't going to die immediately, but certain things die a lot quicker than other things. So if it's a tree, from what I've seen, it takes like 8 or 10 days to die without water, and for the most part I've seen most droughts only go on for a couple of days. But things like the dandelions, they die in a couple of days. They only go 2 to 3. So you gotta watch it. You gotta be a little bit savvy about this. You can later on buy an irrigation tower, which is something that we didn't quite get to in the tutorial, but the tutorial gave me enough to get on with. An irrigation tower is a lifesaver. It's genuinely a lifesaver, because then you can pop the irrigation tower. It does like a circular area over the crops that will keep you kind of going on. You'll see as well here we've now made every beaver in the village happy. 4 days of a drought left. Ooh. Anybody else terrified? Yeah? No? Just me? Okay, right, cool. We're going to get some more tanks down for water purposes, but you can see now things are starting to die. You can see the green has pulled back slightly, and the blueberry bushes that were once lovely and fertile are now starting to die. So it definitely adds a little bit of stress, because all of those carrots, all of those lovely, lovely carrots are gonna die. Oh no! We'll hurry up 4 days. Hurry up and let me survive. Let me survive my first drought, please, game, please. So we're getting some more logs, since we have definitely now run out of space for it. There are no growing trees anywhere near us. We've only got dead ones. So we need to expand a bit on the pathway. Yeah, it's an uncomfortable start, but we're not dead yet. Those are, or they're dying. And that area now at the top there, you can see, has also run out of water. We've still got a decent pool, but it's getting that way. And you've got some chestnut trees there, so you can see it's quite generous on the dying time. You get 8 days on the chestnut tree, which you can see on the text there at the bottom. So it's not the end of the world yet. It would be pretty horrendous if I failed completely on the first episode, but it would also be a learning curve. So finally we have enough science points overnight to get our forester. We pop it over here, So, because I want to maximize the amount of space that I can potentially grow or replant trees. So we take a moment to figure out where to pop that. Which is about the time actually I realised that you can plant things over those stumps without having to remove them, which is why it keeps going red and green. I'm really indecisive here about where to place it, but eventually I do, I promise. It's something to be said about wanting to have a very nice village or a very nice map. But yeah, we get that going. I've done this the wrong way round, and I realised this too late. To make the forester's hut, you need planks. And in order to make planks, you need to have a lumber mill, so the lumber mill can then chop up the logs into planks. So very, very quickly now you can see we're going to make a little haphazard ziggity-zaggity map to try and get a water wheel in over here without then realising that the water wheel won't work without, you guessed it, water. Haha, genius! So we end up, in the end, going for the power wheel, or the wheel of shame, as the real civil engineer would say. The wheel of shame that we actually end up popping a beaver into. You can see there the arrow indicates the path it will join to. The little blue spike at the back is where it needs to connect to the building to transfer the power. This is the only option we have now. The only option. Now you'll see crisis has hit us while we were trying to figure this out. Our poor little beavers are now starving. Now, I realise here we can set the farmer to gather rather than plant, because oh my god, we need food really, really quickly. So he's gonna get on that for us. Probably should have had him gathering sooner. Some of the carrots further back are definitely starting to struggle and are going to start dying out anytime soon. So, and we're only on 2.5 days left. I've also put the wheel in the wrong place. You can see there's a lot of mistakes going on right now, but swings and roundabouts, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll use the extra spaces to put some water towers or something. Apparently the beavers are happy with it though. We've reached level 6, so I'm gonna call it success. I'm gonna call it a win. But yes, you can see here, starving while he's collecting the carrots. Some kind of horrific torture. And yet some of the carrots back there you can see now aren't watered, and we've still got 2 days left of this drought. So far, it's not gone down far enough to complete that level below the pump, but it's also going to start getting to a point where that pump won't work because it won't be able to reach the water. So the pump's only reached 2 blocks low, below where it's been built. So it gets to such a point where you won't be able to pump water. You have to rely solely on your tanks. So yeah, not good. But at least they're happy, right? They're gonna starve and die of thirst. But at least they're happy, right? Right. At least they're happy. We'll let them believe that everything is fine until we are not. I really need to get some more beavers chopping down some more trees here because we really need water. We really need logs. We don't really need beavers to be working in there yet because the other thing isn't built, so I kind of fuss around with that for a moment. But really we need to have the lumber mill up and running as soon as possible. The sooner the better. So yeah, I do leave a beaver in there working and realise that's a silly idea, but these are things you can improve on later, right? Right. However, I don't think we've lost anybody yet. Like, we've not lost a beaver. Nobody's dead yet. And there goes the lumber mill. Success! Hey! Which means we can now make planks, which means we can then make the forester's unit and maybe survive the first drought. Maybe. We check again on the carrots. They are being hastily collected. We do have 34, so it's not the end of the world. But I don't really want them to die either, though, because if they do, it's then wasted time from the workers and also wasted food. We've also, yeah, you can see there, that has stopped pumping. The water has dissipated or drained away enough for the pump not to be able to reach it, so it does become an issue here. Even though I can see water down there, I can't pump it up. I can't get any, so it's kind of just out of reach. And with 1 day left on the drought, that's kind of worrying. That's kind of scary. So we're just gonna grit our teeth and pray that we get through this. I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. So, but you can see as well, we're down 16, 14 units of water, and we've got 11, 12, maybe 13 beavers at this point. Oh boy. Oh no. Not good. This might be doomed already. This might be doomed already. Uh-oh. So they all go to bed on day 11. We're still pushing it. We're getting into day 12 in the big beaver house. And the last day of the drought, which, oh my word, the water needs to come back really quickly. Really, really quickly. I keep checking on the lumber mill to see if there's any updates. You know how you keep going to the fridge to check if there's any food in there? That. So we will see if we survive the drought with our next episode, which will be coming soon. Thank you all very much for joining and watching me struggle through my first hardcore beavers. Timberborn. See you soon. Bye bye.